Okay, today we're going to talk about a few word problems and defining the variables. Our first question says the number of tons of rock, T, mined from a quarry depends on the number of workers, W. The equation below models the relationship T equals 184W plus 852. The question, how many tons of rock will be mined by 43 workers? Let's see how to do that. Now, it's really important to define variables when looking at word problems. The T is the tons, or the tons of rock, and the W is the workers. Here they're asking for T, how many tons? So we have to solve for T. They give us a value for W, 43. So in the equation, all we do is substitute 43 in for that W. Just change the W to 43. And now we've got a pretty simple equation. You'll need your calculator probably to work out 184 times 43, or of course you could use your pencil. And you'll get 7,912 plus 852 will equal the T, or the tons of rock. Add those together and you'll have the answer. If it doesn't match one of those choices, see if it says closest to or anything like that. But in this case, it matches 8,764 exactly. And I'm drawing a cake, like a birthday cake, because that is, I hope you agree, a piece of cake. All right, our second question. The number of acres of land, A, acres, A, left to be planted depends on the number of days, D. Planting has already taken place. The equation below models the relationship. A equals negative 200D plus 10,000. Question, how many days will it take to have 7,000 acres left to plant? The variables are defined in the question. We know that the A is acres, acres of land. We know that the D stands for days. So if you analyze a word problem, you have to know that information. The question is how many days. So we're going to be solving for D. How many days? We'll solve for D. So all we have to do is substitute the number they give us, the 7,000 acres. We'll substitute that in for A, and again be left with a pretty simple two-step equation. We have to figure out what the D is. That is what we're being asked. So we'll subtract 10,000 from both sides to start working on isolating that D. Grab your calculator if you need it. 7,000 minus 10,000 is negative 3,000. So our equation says negative 3,000 equals negative 200D. Always divide by the exact same number that's on the variable. And with your calculator, if you need it, negative 3,000 divided by negative 200, that's going to be 15. Use your calculator. That's what that arrow means. And that's what those words mean. And you've heard me say that many times. If you're in my class, if you're out there in YouTube world and you don't know me, use that calculator every chance you get. Make sure you get the right numbers. All right, now this question looks exactly like an earlier question, but they're asking it a different way. So don't get fooled by that. The number of tons of rock mined by a quarry depends on the number of workers. The equation below models the relationship. Same exact equation they had before. T equals 184W plus 852. So how many workers will it take to mine 4,000 tons of rock? This time they're asking us how many workers. So be careful to plug in the numbers where needed. Our question, how many workers? We're solving for W. So they tell us 4,000 tons of rock. That will go in for T, the tons. So 4,900, excuse me. Might have been saying 4,000, but I mean 4,900 equals 184W plus 852. Again, all we did was substitute the number they gave us for T. And it's a two-step equation yet again. In this case, we have to isolate the W to find out how many workers, like the question asks. So we subtract 852 to start working on isolating that W. Make sure you carry and borrow and all that kind of stuff if you're not using your calculator, just like you learned in second and third. We got 184 times the workers, so we divide by that exact same number. And I don't show you the answer on this one because I want you to be convinced that what I'm saying about a calculator is really, really helpful when solving problems like this. Just grab your calculator, punch in 4048 divided by 184, and it will match one of those answers. If it doesn't, just find your mistake. Because your calculator in testing is just about your best buddy. Just like it says on the screen. Your calculator is your friend. All right, last one. And again, this question looks exactly like the other one, but we're going to solve for the other variable this time too. So the number of acres of land, A, left to be planted depends on the number of days, D. Planting has already taken place. The equation below models the relationship. So A equals negative 200D plus 10,000. How many acres? So we're solving for A. How many acres? It says right there in the question. Will be left to be planted after 36 days. So you'll put 36 in for the D. We're solving for A because the question is how many acres. So write your equation. A equals negative 200 times the number they gave us for D, which of course is that 36. And wow, it's not even a two-step equation. You're going to just do a little multiplication, a little subtraction, and you will know the answer for A here. Negative 200 times 36 is negative 7,200. And that disappeared. There it is. It's back. That was a little hiccup I had on my computer, but it's back. So negative 7,200 plus 10,000. That's a subtraction problem, but you could plug it in exactly like it's written on your calculator. And I believe you're going to get 2,800 or 2,800, which is a big plot of land. And let's see if that's on there. We're looking for it, and there it is. It's really fun getting the right answers, guys and gals. And sometimes, if you learn how to substitute the numbers in, it's a piece of cake. I said that earlier. I'm not lying. Well, that's a colorful cake with many candles on it. Thanks for taking the time to listen. I think everyone in the room and every 8th grader out there watching should be able to handle this with a little practice. Good job. Word problems are not a big deal. You got this.